Would help if I unmuted my mic. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right, so today I'm back on my Guild Wars 2 account. I really enjoy Guild Wars 2 for multiple reasons. One, it's a buy and play game. I buy it, I buy expansions, I get to play online. Done, over with. No monthly fees, nothing, whatever. I play at my leisure. Now, the question of it is it worth playing still? Now, that's subjective, to be honest with you guys. It's completely subjective. Now, I'm going to create a new character so we can kind of go over a lot of this. And what is Guild Wars 2 offering race? You know, is character creation as good? How's it still comparable in current market in a lot of aspects? So we honestly have 5 races. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So 5 races. In that aspect, it's pretty decent. Like, you know, your selection. So, and then of course, if you click it, it'll tell you about the race. Kind of a brief, you know, description about the race. So we have the Char, we have the Human, we have the Norn, we have the Azura. And then, of course, we have the Sylvari. So, you know, I already have a Sylvari. I think I have a Norn and I have a Human. So I'm going to go with the Char. Okay, so once we go there, we can obviously change it to male or female if we desire. So it's kind of a nice aspect once again. Now we have our classes. Now in Guild Wars 1, what I really enjoyed about Guild Wars 1 was how you could take your main class and you could pair it with a subclass. So you can make very unique builds. Unfortunately, in Guild Wars 2, they didn't implement the same aspect. So it's kind of crazy. I don't think I have a Reverend yet, so I'm thinking about going with the Reverend. So, all right. It'll kind of give you a brief overlook of the armor. Alright. So the classes, you have Warrior, you have Guardian. Then once again, it'll tell you what they wear, what type of armor they wear based on it. You have heavy armors up top. You have medium armors in the middle. And of course we have our light armors. 3 of each. We have 3. Okay. Kinda cool. Okay, now customization. This is kind of interesting. We do have a scaling system in which, you know, you can scale. Right. We can go with the physique. Now, one thing I don't like about pre-cut physiques, sometimes I like to be a little bloated. Sometimes I want to be really skinny. I like the scaled. If you have the scaled in height, why can't you have the scale in the physique? Just my opinion. Alright. Of course, we have fur. They actually have quite a bit of different fur patterns, I believe. Kinda like that one. That's pretty badass. Alright, then we could change the color. Kind of looks cool. Okay. We can go to head options. Once again, I don't know. I don't. So it's what? It's main. Kind of like the hairstyle. Kind of like that, how that color comes over. Let's... Jalapeno. I guess we're going with an apricot. It kind of goes well with it, I think. I love that you can, you know, turn. It's a very easy turn position. And, you know, you do get a good representation of how your dude is going to look. Whoa. See, I'm already in, I like that face. Now those horns are pretty badass, actually. We can go lengthy on the horns. You know, I don't want to overcompensate or anything. I'm just saying, you know, my horns are above average. Just saying. Now, I do like this usually if it's noticeable. If you can see a lot of the eye detail, which in this case, I don't think it's going to be as detailed given the fact that I'm a char. So my horns get in the way. Changing the eye color, obviously you can do that. It's kind of cool. I like the pale blue green. It kind of just hits off. I do like customization when we're talking about mouths or any of these features and jaw lines. I really do kind of pay attention to a little bit of this. Yeah, definitely kind of want a saber tooth type of look. That's kind of cool. Not really too... Not a lot of... What about the muzzle tip? Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Okay. Armored eyes. We can definitely, like, dye up front. All right. Yeah, this is what I usually go. This way I get an understanding for how the color is being... See, I do like that kind of blackish maple on that leather. Now it gives you a little question to kind of even give further character or ideology to your character. I fight with my blank blindfold on to shut out the distractions of the physical world and focus my magical. So I fight with my Miss Scrim, my Veil Piercer. Alright. Trouble may follow me, but I use my blank to overcome it. Charm, dignity, ferocity. I am proud to be a Blood Legion soldier, an Ash Legion soldier, and Iron. I would die for my warband, especially blank my sparring partner. They tell me the soldier that's sired me is a loyal soldier, sorceress shaman, honorless Gladum. And of course we're going to put our stamp of approval. I am Mr. Char. I am Mr. Char.
I am a Char. In this world of constant battle, I am the deadliest weapon of all. I respect no authority, but the clenched fist of my legion. With engines of destruction, we have killed our gods. We reclaimed our homeland of Ascalon, and we planted victory banners on the graves of our enemies. Yet, if we waver, it could slip through our claws. Victory, at any cost. I live and die where secrets hide. I thrive where danger. I've earned the respect of my comrades, and forged alliances I can call on in times of need. My legion teaches stealth, patience, deception. We fight where the Citadel commands, but only to aid the Ash Legion's cause. Today, the Black Citadel's combined army will assault the ghosts that plague this land. I've been assigned to reinforce the bulwark. Let the Blood Legion charge blindly to their deaths. Let the Iron Legion build their machines of war. You will find me in the shadows. This is my story.
Now, one thing I do, Guild Wars 2 is very sensitive to internet interruptions. So if at any time you get a hiccup in your ISP, most likely you get kicked. Elder Scrolls has the same problem. There are some games out there that will have a little bit more of a lengthy delay timer. Okay, Pathfire, which I do have. Pathfire is pretty good. Of course, it's all WASD. Or you can use your mouse. Or you can pivot with your mouse and move. You can push both buttons and move with your mouse if you'd like. So very versatile controls. Very, very versatile. You can look up, down, all this other stuff. Kind of cool. Now I do feel like there's a little, like, my dude's a little slow. Like, his movement, I mean, it feels like I'm in slow motion a lot of time. I mean, just moving like this. Of course, we have the traditional leveling setup. You're gonna get one attack until you progress.
Your help, soldier. Tribune Brimstone has ordered me to the crypt, but I'm too torn up to make it. What's so important that the Blood Legion Tribune is there? The ghost of Duke Barrington is far more powerful than we thought. His army just broke through our defenses. Ritlock's about to fight him head-on. If he succeeds, it'll be weeks before the ghost reforms, and we can rebuild our perimeter. On my way. I don't like this. More that is scattered.
Tab target controls. Still turn-based. It has a Twitch feeling, but we still have a turn-based, more of a turn-based system implemented into the combat structure. So the Twitch feel definitely comes from like when you get more abilities as you level. But as you guys could see, the attack speed isn't indicated by anything like statistical. So it has a flat aspect to how fast your combat is going to be implemented. Of course, you can go ahead and just keep like killing stuff. There is some XP gain in this. 2. Obviously, your bigger portions of XP will be gained from questing. Yay. Now, I will say dynamically, with the dynamic events, this game does do really well. In the trenches, man. I'm in the trenches. But like I said, one of the best aspects to this game, you buy it, you own it, you play it. Defend the gates. Defend the gates of Tartar. No, I'm gonna miss that. That's kind of why I did go back to DC when I was playing it. The combat system just, you know, there's definitely a difference in more Twitch, like full end Twitch and then partial Twitch. Like, this is still turn-based. No matter how fancy it's gotten in comparison to games like World of Warcraft, it's still a Twitch-based system. Yo, Jack, what's up, my brother? How you doing? So, Jack, did you hear about Daybreak laying off all those people before Christmas? What's your thoughts, brother? I was pretty upset. I was like, what the hell? Okay, now,
reinforcements.
Obviously, I'm going to go inside. And I just feel like the characters just move so much slower. Now, prior to the new Trial by Fire, there was no mount system in this game, which made progressing very tedious. So now there is a mount system. You can, like, once you get it and you do the quest, you can obtain your mount. Or you could go back like old school, like kind of what I'm doing here, and just kind of, you know, illustrating what you can expect. Now, the regular Guild Wars, you can download and play for free. I'm doing great, man. Yourself? I'm doing very well. Can't complain. I'm anticipating. I got to leave here probably in another 30 minutes. I have a couple things to do. Yeah, I heard about that. Daybreak must be insane. Not good timing. I understand they have to make a business decision, but right before the holidays, I mean, you have Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and it's like, well, you know what? Screw off. It's like, wow, okay. Now that's kind of where I kind of don't mind storylines, and you can zoom in and you can get this nice, really cool graphics aspect to what's going on. If you want to, you can play in like a third-party view, but your hands don't show like it does in Elder Scrolls. Not very well, anyways. You'll see a little bit of the hits, but now see when you pull out, then you get to see your weapon. Now the cutscenes are done well in this game. Probably better than most. Storyline, really good. So there's a lot of really good storyline. Given the fact that also when you change races, it changes the story. Replayability probably makes it one of the best games ever in that essence. Because everything's down by race for playability, at least in the beginning. And then, of course, everything kind of merges. Killing a crypt. Boy, this motherfucker is hard.
Mission accomplished. You're heroes now, boys and girls. Congratulations. Report back to Smokestead.
Kinda cool. Now, I like this game. You can download the regular version for free. If you want the expansions, you have to purchase those. Very well worth it. They do kind of have their incentive perks, plus they get scaling gems.
Impressive.
Tribune Brimstone was calling the shots. I just did my job.
Don't sell yourself short. You were part of the team that took down Baradin and stopped the Ghost Assault. Smokestead is safe now, and you helped make it that way. People are still on edge, though. It'd help if they saw someone like you making the rounds, lending a hand. The quicker we get this place squared away, the sooner the Legions can get back to business. You can help. I'd rather have volunteers. But if I have to issue an order, I will.
That won't be necessary, Legionnaire. I hereby volunteer.
It's like you're gonna do it regardless. Okay. You can also take a look at the map, right? So there's a scout, and this is the world. Obviously, you know, it's actually quite a lot bigger than you even anticipate. I'm gonna accept it. Gonna level up. Now I have my new ability. Now abilities do inventory is the same I, you know, and then of course we have, you can dual wield too if you want. Okay, so hold on, let me, I think dual wield unlocks later. Alright, let me come here.
I'd rather kill Flame Legion traitors than dead Ascalonians.
Okay, it's locked to level 6. Then at level 6 we can dual mace if we want.
Smokestead lies outside the Black Citadel on land we took back from the humans. It's our base of operations for further expansion into this region. We're pressing east and north, facing resistance from the Flame Legion and an infestation of Ascalonian ghosts.
Points of interest, quest lines.
Hey, come talk to me.
Already did. I'm good. Alright. Once again, slow movement. It feels like it's just time consuming. Like the graphics, the movement of the graphics is fine. Squish spiders in their eggs. See, to me this is once again just kind of like introduction to combat. Never did like quests like this very much. Draw it in the AoE if I can. Well, welcome back, Mystic. Sorry about that, guys. My net went stupid. Now, nice thing I do like, you don't have to go back to the quest giver in this game. So it's not tedious running back and forth, but even though it's right here. I mean, if it sent me across the map, I wouldn't have to go back to turn in. It just updates, and I get my reward. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I guess. Double click, get the bags. All right. graphically, it's not very bad, but like a couple of the things, and I don't mind the graphics, but you'll see there's no movement in the floral, right? Certain games, they have like the movement, and you know, there's like a wavy look, like winds blowing on the grass or something, like you see in Black Desert or Elder Scrolls, where it's just like a simulation. Though these graphics are a lot better than World of Warcraft. So when you take a look at, you know, little things like this, you know, atmosphere does kind of play, you know, an important role to the setting. However, you know, it's how hard is it on the system? I always said, you know, if they would have done an more of a controller element, but like the tree bark here, it's okay. You know, it for its time, it was done, but it feels like a brick. It looks more of like a brick than a bark look. But if it had been a little bit more cartoony graphics, it might have gotten a little bit more. You know, wouldn't have been so, you know, detailed, you know, but back then, you know, they had to work with what they had and using, you know, the graphic designer. But the rocks are done really well. The coloring of the rock is done really well. And the lining, so pretty much I enjoy this rock from this graphical display just because it's a good representation. I also love the divots in the landscape. The one aspect that really I enjoyed about Guild Wars 2, and not as much as 1. I mean, 1 there was some, but in 2 was definitely a lot more, I feel, accurate landscape terrain. What the terrain would feel like in a real world environment. Even though movement seems a little, you know, stagnant at times. But, you know, for a free trial game and a free, not free, but, you know, buy-to-play element to the game in today's market, this is a really still great purchase, man. In my opinion. That's my opinion. Now, the game has a RVR system, or WVW, World versus World element to it. They still do have Battlegrounds, though there's only like 2 modes of Battlegrounds, which is a little disappointing. I must admit that, you know, Battlegrounds weren't as, you know, as dominating as in the first initial Guild Wars. I do feel like maybe they kind of took a cheap way out and tried to put too much into the World versus World, which isn't bad, but once again, there's no mounting, and getting from point A to point B just feels a little stagnant. So, is PvP, you know, really good? It's okay. It's a little dated, but the one element that I really do like about PvP in this game is kept separated from PvE. So PvE and PvP are very well separated in this game. Now, once again, I've, you know, completed. I get my rewards. It's kind of a win-win. And of course, it'll just point me to the next direction in which I can obtain my next quest area. Auto loot's so much better. Like I said, I do love the terrain, and the graphics are, you know, I mean, it is pretty good. I mean, I would probably give it a good 6, 7, even in today's market, about 6. I mean, it's not like an 8 or a 9, but hey. There's a challenge. Do I have to do the challenge? Shit.
You have a question?
I've done your challenge. And here's another player. Sometimes players will come back just for like the achievements and stuff. You can anticipate that. All right. I was productive. Oh, there they are. Finally. Run. See, but armor looks pretty good. I like the customization of the character. I would have to say I'd give that probably at least a 7. I mean, it's definitely an out of 10. I mean, it's not as customizable, but it's definitely, I appreciate little things like that. Even World of Warcraft's customization is kind of generic. Alright. I completed the nearby events.
More come, yeah.
Can I get up through here? How in the hell? I bet you it's the underneath part. Fine. Yep. Can I get down without dying? Alright, we're good. Holy flip me, man. It's like just ground and pound, man. Like, one thing, it didn't really make like at least if you're gonna have a Twitch-based system, I wish it like dodge rolling would be a little bit more. You know, you would have to be a little bit more strategic. You know, with you know your movement, or there would be even in the beginning introducing mechanics. You know. Why do I need a merchant? I don't need a merchant. Why are you guys here?
That's why you don't put your hand in the Devourer's mouth. Okay, next question.
Okay. To open up. We gotta come over here. Like, I don't feel immersed in the combat system. Like, I feel like even when you get further on, like I remember back in the day when everybody was hyped about this game, and I thought the performance was well polished, even for like the beta test. I thought, you know, ArenaNet, it always did provide really cool content, a really good atmosphere. But there was always something with this combat system. I was like, okay, so we have new abilities that's set for like a switch. We still have the global cooldowns. That's kind of cool, but there's something missing in the combat system, and I could never put my finger on it. You know, there was just something I couldn't just quite grab. What was aching me, man? Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. You know, it wasn't memorable.
And foul the waters of this lake. Show them the power of balefire.
Legionnaire, did you see those flame legion down
What's
there?
going on, Spartacus? Playing a little Guild Wars 2. Just kind of asking myself, is this game, like, because I own it. And the one thing I love about Guild Wars 2, when I buy it and I own it, I don't have to pay it. Like, it's like, oh, okay, there's an expansion, I'll get it. Cool deal. I could play it at my leisure or whatever, so there's no, like, hidden fees or anything. So I kind of like that. But there are certain elements to the game where it's kind of like, it's okay, but, you know, like, it's not, graphically, it has its appeal to it. It's a lot better than, like, say, World of Warcraft. Yeah, I know how to dodge. I can even do that. But the dodge system's kind of eh.
For Ash Legion.
Okay, or... How did it... There we go. Aha! See that?
At ease.
What the hell? I already opened this. So what are you doing, Spartacus? How you doing today? Like, graphically, it's good. It's like polished. This game's well polished. It performs really well. Unless your ISP goes kind of like stupid. Combat is just old, but it's a good game. Hell, I currently killing mofos in DAOC. Yeah. DAOC was the badass game. It's you know, to this day that game, you know, holds its own. I bet you it performs a lot better. I mean, it used to lag, but I can't imagine, like, you know, I haven't played it forever, so now see, this is the one thing. Look at them. These things are just kind of like, this is another thing, like the AI kind of just like, some of them are moving and then some are just so like, I don't know, man. Good, just working, been doing OT overtime. Oh shit, brother. Yeah, I'm supposed to be getting a phone call today, and then I have to take my daughter up to uptown and do some stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, I could take you. And she's like, okay. I kind of feel a little under the weather, but I think it's just that time of year. You know, winter sucks. But like, I was playing Elder Scrolls yesterday, and I keep asking myself, you know, should I go back? And then after leaving Cyrodiil, I kind of keep realizing, until they get it fixed, I have a hard time with that. Like, I have a hard time, you know, I don't get to enjoy the game when it lags out so god dang bad, and stupid bugs. It's the stupid bugs that get me more than anything. It's not like the bugs that just happen randomly. It's the things that happen consistently. Random bugs is one thing, you know, you can anticipate that, and performance has its issue in every game. But seriously, like, I just, yeah, meh. And I wouldn't have really anything to do. I mean, I could get on Xbox and play, and whatever, but I've done so many things. I mean, yeah, I could try the new dungeons and do this, but I'm just like, at the end game, I got to keep asking myself, where am I at my end game, you know, in a game. You've been starting at 5 a.m.? Holy God, brother. Now, see, I do like these graphics, like with the special effects, like how they do smoke and stuff, and the fires in this game. I really enjoy that. Like, look at this. Like, you see this? Like, these elements, like the smoke. Look how well the smoke is done. The smoke in this, this is what I keep saying, where ArenaNet really shines. They take a lower, and this is where I do applaud them. And I'll say this. If something's lacking in graphics, they make up for it with environmental conditions. Like, terrain's always good, like in this game. Why not work on builds for PvE and run some dungeons like you used to? Because I don't need any gear. That's the problem. If I had more space to get gear and I needed gear, I would. But the problem of it is the way the game's set up. Like I always say, I'm a slave to the numbers, you know. And no matter if they're not going to come out with gear that's going to be competitive for PvE, then I'm kind of, my hands are tied. It's like you guys come out with sets that are okay, but they're pointless. They're like more, they're more like for customization and stuff. Lately the gear hasn't been, you know, really changing formats. We can get some differentials between some of the other sets, but nothing that makes you want to say, I want to get this for my Templar. I want to get this for, you know, my Sork, you know, or something. There's not a lot of sets that, you know, are appealing like they were. Like once you have the sets, you're kind of just sitting there with the sets waiting for something new. And I feel like that's probably, there's no motivation for me to play the game. PvP's lacking in performance, and PvE has no incentive to want to do anything. And people say, oh, well, you can do the trials and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm like, but once you get it, what's the point? Once you have it. Like, what's the point? Then you're asking yourself, what the fuck am I doing? That's the thing. Now, for players who don't have all of that, that's one thing, you know. There's a lot of players out there that might not have a lot of gear and whatever, but literally we never had lockouts and trials. You can farm your entire trial set in a day if you wanted to. I mean, just if you wanted to, you could. You know, if you were hell-bent on having it, you could do it, you know? You could. So I feel like the incentive, there's nothing to incentivize me. The lore is good. The open land is great and things, but there's nothing to keep me going. To keep me saying, oh, you know, this is where I need to, this is why I need to continue to play. For tanks, yeah. There are some good sets, but like I said, there's nothing like wet in my whistle. There's nothing wet in my whistle, man. Like, even me and my friend were talking, we got on the phone. Now, I'm in his guild on the Xbox. And it's a trial guild. And he was doing the new Black Rose, and he's like, I was like, if in my opinion the sets aren't worth it. The weapons and the sets really aren't like incentive enough to do it. Like, you do it and you can get it. He's like, exactly. There was like, he's like, it just doesn't feel like, why am I in here? Why? What, to get a weapon? What am I going to use it for? He's like, I'm not going to use the staff except for, you know, maybe in this application or that. He's like, but there's no incentive to want to do the content. I'm like, that's how I felt with a lot of things. That's how I felt. I'm like, it's good. The content's good. The dungeons are good. But what's the incentive? You know, I mean, for a player like me, I mean, you can lure me with fluff, but I want something reflective. I want something that, you know, says, hey, you know, hey, we got something over here for you for this class or this whatever. And I know it's more open-ended and it shouldn't be whatever, but like, I feel like, I don't know, man. There needs to be something to incentivize dungeons again. There needs to be something. They need to maybe give more bag space if they can handle it, which I don't know if they can. Their equipment's stretched sometimes, but you know, as far as that's kind of where I'm at in my MMO experience. I'm like, I'm enjoying other games. I'm enjoying coming back to games and having this experience to say, hey, you know what? It's been a while since I played this. I should go check it out and see how well it's doing still. And some games are better than others in that regards. But overall, you know, I'm at least having fun. Especially Destro, and yeah, my dude already got the Destro. We were talking about that, but after he got it, he's like it's a niche staff. I was like, dude, seriously. Like his big thing right now, like what he's doing. You burn out on the MMOs. No, I'm not burnt out on MMOs. I'm just burnt. I want performance. Like, I can still play Elder Scrolls for PvP. But that's where I'm at in my end game. That's where I'm at in my end game. My end game's about PvP. And if PvP isn't performing, then why am I going to be playing that game? If I'm going to play PvE, that's why I like DCUO at the time. DCUO, I continued to PvE because I still needed to obtain gear. And I was almost there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not burnt out on MMOs. I'm burnt out on why am I playing? It's time to stream a different one every day. You can be the Baskin Robbins of MMOs. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm on here today, because I'm like, you know, can I continue to do this? You know what I'm saying? But like I said, my gaming days might be over anyway soon. We'll see. If not, you know, at least I'll find something sooner or later. But I like accessibility in games. That's my biggest issue, is what games are accessible. Like, this game's great for PC, but how many players have PCs? Like, you know what I'm saying? I can download this game, the base game, for free. Anybody can do that. I, you know, can decide if I want to go with the expansions and that. Problem of it is, not everybody has PCs. Inventory is full, eh? Eh? Eh. Alright. And I maybe should have sold something. Who knows? But yeah, honestly, the way I look at it is, you know, I want to continue to, you know, give the pros and cons of games. Like I said, you know, coming out, trying this game for free, it's good for that. You know what I'm saying?
Reporting.
All right. Like, there's a lot of cool things in this game. But, you know, once again, I mean, it's a little dated, but I feel like it's a good dated. Yeah, Final Fantasy 14, Skyforge, STO. Yeah, I played Skyforge. It's okay. The content's a little Combat's good, but the content is kind of nah. So it's kind of like good combat, not enough content. STO, I like the controls. I like the space. I like the missions. The ground game, like when you go on the ground, I didn't like it. Also, because the character feels too stiff and clunky, and there was a lot of things, you know, with like the mouth movements and stuff kind of get up. Terra is always a classic. I played Terra on PC. I felt like they did a good job with the console version. The thing about it is, and it comes back down to the next gen gamers, is leveling is out. It's a dated form of MMOing, and I will say that, like how you progress in MMOs now, like Final Fantasy 14 has a good element to it that every your one dude could play every class, right? So it has that element to it. It has stunning graphics. It has, you know, purpose, meaning, good storyline. Really cool stuff with Final Fantasy. I couldn't get into Final Fantasy. I haven't played 14. But my friend had Final Fantasy online. But the one thing I always feel like, and I can't condemn it. I'm not condemning it. Let me rephrase. I don't know enough about Final Fantasy from my personal perception to critique it in comparison. Let's put it that way. But in an overall element to what drives players to continue to playing in this day and age has changed. It used to be about the grind, right? And how you build incentive in your game model now is more relevant than ever. It's more relevant than ever. Elder Scrolls has a great open-ended system, and I commend it for that. It makes gaming well worth it to experience in Elder Scrolls from a PvE standpoint. From a PvE standpoint, I'll never bash Elder Scrolls Online. Terra is just too linear. And same thing, it still has that really updated Twitch system, which it deserves credit for introducing a lot of these original concepts in the genre, and especially in Battlegrounds and things like that. So it makes it, you know, timeless in that essence. But a linear format can only do so much depending on how the incentive, until you incentivize it. Same thing with DC. I love DC's combat system. I like their incentive to continue to play the content, but it becomes monotonous. So it's like, it's not a bad game, but it's so what we call cookie cut, how players are anticipated to play their game. They're once again, they're led. They don't get to do what they want and still reap the benefits of incentivizing their personal gameplay. And I feel like that's one of the couple of the things that I want to introduce to change. And from my experience, now I was a tester for this game, and I love NCSoft. NCSoft has always treated me really good. ArenaNet's always treated me really good. I love the guys over there. I really like NCSoft, you know, in a lot of ways. I mean, I don't feel like they've always made the best business decisions. And unfortunately, I mean, they've done what they've had to do, but they've always been really good to me. NCSoft has been always really good to me. So overall, I will say that it's one of the biggest MMOs for a reason. What one? Elder Scrolls or WoW? Or Guild Wars? Guild War, I mean, I'm trying to figure out which one you're referring to. There's a lot of big MMOs. World of Warcraft's the biggest. Final Fantasy, you mean? Final Fantasy is huge. Final Fantasy is massive. It's got a lot of pop to it. Like, Final Fantasy's popularity is huge. And I'm not, and once again, I'm not ragging on any of these games and separating. What I'm saying from a player's perspective, there are so many games out there. What's the difference now moving forward? Right? We have to take a look at these things. We have to say, you know, why are players going to pick one specific product over another? Right? That becomes the question that companies need to ask. They have to redivert those questions to okay, I think I can cut through here and then, but I gotta kill this stream. But is this game worth playing? I'll tell you what, if you have a computer, go download it. You can download this base game for free. You can try it out for free. You know, it doesn't kill you to do it. You can try LiveLock.
Age no longer affects us dwarves. Erosion, however.
Whoa.
So you get smoother instead of wrinkling.
My ghost is talking to me. I'll have to take a look at it. Like Ashes of Creation. Do I think Ashes of Creation is going to be a good game? Absolutely. Problem, they're limiting their market. It's going to have a huge, a ridiculous, and I mean, let's repeat this, ridiculous specs. Final Fantasy 14. Oh. Well, I have to buy it. And then after I canceled my thing, that's why I got Magic the Gathering. I've been playing Magic the Gathering online. Like, you know, I just got some Destiny. No, I play Destiny. I'm not a Destiny fan. I think Destiny's okay. I'm not a Destiny fan. Destiny is definitely for that type of thing. I like MMOs. And there's a reason I'm an MMOer. And this was the funny thing. I actually talked to you know, a colleague and stuff, and they're like, you know, why do you want to get into developing the MMO versus a specific type of game? And I'm like, the genre lasts longer than your traditional games. And they're like, how so? And I'm like, okay, so we take a traditional shooter game. Let's say Call of Duty. Call of Duty, prior to any DLC, if it's a standalone without any updates or additions, well, it's from time of release to the next best thing has a 2-year lifespan. On the average, a 2-year lifespan. Meaning, you know, within the first 6 to 8 months, depending on the popularity, the price adjustment drops considerably. I'm like, an MMO, an average MMO has a 5 to 6 year lifespan. Meaning the price point doesn't drop at least for the first 8 months to a year, depending on expansions or updates. I'm like, if it's a DLC driven, you may never see that price point drop for 2 to 3 years. At least 2 years, depending on price point. And I'm like, now if it's expansion base, depending on expansion release, I'm like, given the fact that we can get, even on a bad end version of an MMO at peak, we can get 5 to 6 years versus 2. That's significant for revenue point. And given the fact that everything has multi-platform features, every game has multi-platform feature now. So I'm like, it's still relative in market. Question of it is, what's your business model? That's the relative question to ask when you get into this. And of course, I explained further with them. Played Magic Origins on it. It's free to play. Yeah, I know, but it's not the same. It is definitely not the same. I had that game too, Magic Origins. Yeah, it's pre-made decks, and yeah, it's okay. Graphically, it looks nice. It's kind of cool. I like the little things that they did with it. But like when I get in on the Magic the Gathering online, it's like the normal card game. It's like, yes. They don't nickel and dime you like Magic the Gathering Online. Magic the Gathering Online, though, you can trade your cards for real ones. once you get a whole collection, the reason why it's the same as retail is because you can trade your digital for actual. That's why. I was an alpha tester for Magic the Gathering Online. Wizards of the Coast actually brought me in early stage intentionally. So I was one of their closed testers, working directly with the dev team for that game. So I'm very proud. I mean, I'm proud that the game lasted as long as it did. My daughter was 3 years old when I was testing that for him, and she turned 4 when it was released. I was on alpha or beta when it went to beta, but I was on that game for an entire year with the development team at home. So I was at home working with the development team on that platform. So, and I'm still very proud of it, how well that game has done for as long as it has. I'm very proud that that game has survived this long. I mean, I didn't develop it, but to be there during the time of its conception was really cool. Like when someone's like, you know, hey, I remember I had contacted them and I said, hey man, I'm having a problem with my other Magic game, and they're like, hey Mystic, we're working on a new version of a Magic the Gathering, and we're going to be doing a online aspect to it. Would you be interested in testing it? There was even no signups for it. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. You know, shoot me a URL, which is a private link for the download for the file. And they did. They shoot me an email, and I was actually testing that game during its phase. So I was connected, you know. I had like a remote connection to the server, and I could actually play with the computer because they had simulators at the time. And I was simulated so we would test the resolve, the rule sets and how they were resolving in the simulation. So it was pretty cool, man. I was pretty happy about that. You know, that they were like, oh, check this out, dude. We would love to have your input and feedback, you know, because I was an avid Magic player at the time. They keep dropping in new cards in Origins. Oh, I didn't know that about a Magic the Gathering Online. That's cool. You can get real cards. Right. Yep. That's why it's so expensive. They're basically, that's why they're charging full price for the packs. Because those digital versions are representation of real cards that you can trade in. Like, if I get a whole collection, I could be like, I want to trade my digital collection for the actual hard collection. And they will do that. They will accommodate you. But you got to collect the set, and then you put in the request for it. And once you submit the request, boom, they mail out. They mail them out to you. And then they deduct it from your digital. Now, that's kind of a couple of things that I was kind of like, I wish they would have done this or that, but yeah. It was Hero Click Online. Didn't die. I love playing Hero Clicks. Oh, did you? Yeah, I remember Hero Clicks. I remember that game. Yeah, those models were really cool. A couple of my dudes had those. Might die.
Big feet, big fist. Better to smash and dash.
I don't even know what the fuck this whole thing is.
Big feet, big fist. Better to smash and dash.
Better to smash and dash.
Woo woo! That is our make champion for Grawl. Woo woo! Lash and crash.
And I thought that dude had me.
Big fist.
Secure some lake or something. Kind of like this, though. I can just kind of free roam around, do whatever. It's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go. I feel like this game is worth trying. Like I said, you know, you do have the online version. You can try out for free on the base game, and then if people enjoy it, then obviously you can get later on. You can get like the expansions. The price points do stay pretty relative, so I will tell you that. But overall, I do enjoy. I still enjoy this game a lot. It's a very big world, very big. You know, the one thing though, once again, and here's where I'm going to reintegrate the problem. Moving forward with MMOs, I still play it. New set drops. Oh, do you? Seriously, dude? I haven't seen that in forever, man. That takes me back. We have 25 to 40, 40 to 50, right? 45 to 55. So we see a little pattern here of areas, you know, that are scaled to your level. The problem with this format and where Elder Scrolls kind of had its advantage with One Tamriel was getting rid of this model, because it takes areas in which you've previously used to play and abandons them completely. And what you have are what you call dead zones in your game. Roz, what's up? You have dead zones in your game, and that's not cool. So for trying this game out for free, for the storyline, replayabilities here, there's a lot of cool things. But the problem of it is still the linear system, and we see this. It's evidence within just the map, the mapping. Do you want me to download this game again? That's up to you. I'm just going over it today, Roz, because for me, I'm just playing it, messing around. But it has a lot of good points to it. Like I said, I own it. I can play it at my leisure. This was a really good business model. Plus, they have the microtransactions that are pretty much just fluff for the most part. Now, as you can see, also they introduced a mount system. So once you do whatever, you get the mount, which is pretty cool. It makes it a lot easier to maneuver. So I do like this, that they've implemented this effect. But the problem of it is, like I said, once you out level an area, you're never hardly going to come back unless you need some sort of achievement or something, you know, an event or skins. It's pointless. It becomes irrelevant. And that's one of those things that ZeniMax Online Studios did really well, right? Was get rid of those level restrictions and say, you know, you can play with any level in any zone and it scales accordingly, which was excellent. So people could enjoy their time together. The problem with it is during your end game, though, how do you keep incentivizing progression? Where does your progression lead you? Where are you at in end game, whether that be PvE or PvP? And how does that keep players playing once they reach that plateau? These are the questions. These are the very important elements that have to go into maintaining the product, right? To maintain revenue and to keep the game in consistent mode in an MMO. Do not doubt the lifespan of an MMO in comparison to traditional games, RPG, or shooters, or any other genre. MMOs, regardless of its setting, whether it be science fiction, fantasy, heroic, shooter, whatever, if it has an MMO element to it, it will last through a longer duration than any other game type. And that's what makes it appealing for investors and as well as players. Players feel like they're investing their time and the game doesn't die out so quick, right? The problem of it is, what keeps the players playing it? What keeps the community involved in this product, in this game? Well, that's up to the dev team and the company to decide how to keep players engaged. So, There you guys have it. But if anybody has any questions or comments, please post below. I'm Mystic Raven. This is Mystic's MMOs. And as always, thank you. And have a nice day.